Hey buddies, it's your girl AyChristene, and today we are checking out Odd1sOut's thoughts on job interviews. I am interested to see this because I've had a bunch of job interviews in my life. I mean, I'm 31 years old. I know I look 12, but it's okay. And I've had a lot of job interviews for different positions, different, situations, and even faux job interviews, real job interviews, phase 1, phase 2. You go and take a test, you come back, and it's more. So I'm interested to see his thoughts and see what he thinks. Because a lot of the times when he says things, they're super freaking relatable for me as far as awkwardness with other people and social anxiety, things like that. So I'm interested to see his take. Link for this video is in the description box below for you to check out. Now let's get started.
I know Grade A Under A already made a video about this, but shut up, okay? He wasn't the only person to ever be interviewed. Just because you talk about something doesn't mean no one else is allowed to talk about it.
Right.
Now, I'm a young adult guy, so I only ever applied to fast food and retail jobs. And can I ask, why is there so much pressure to get a job when you're a teenager? As soon as I turned 16, my dad would always ask me, did you get a job yet? And I would hate it when I would apply to places online, and then my dad would tell me that I need to apply in person because that's better. They need to see my sparkling, responsible face. But then 99% of the time, I would walk in and ask some other teenager where I could apply, and they would just look at me and say, you could apply online, dude. And just so you know, I got a job at Subway that I applied for online, Dad. Okay, it is important to get a job at that age so you can save up for college.
Had to say that to his
I thought that's what people got fast food jobs for, but only one other person I worked with was planning on going to college. But even though you won't be able to afford college at a minimum wage job, every penny helps, because college is important. Except in my case, I dropped out of college. School is for nerds!
Oh,
Why
dear.
is it so difficult to get a job in fast food or retail? If you don't have any friends that are working someplace that's hiring, and if you don't have any past job experience, then it's so hard to get a job, even as a teenager. Or maybe I just completely failed every single interview, I don't know. I would apply to who knows how many places online, and then there was only a 20% chance that they would call and set up an interview, and then after the interview, there was a 0% chance they would actually hire me.
I like how the number changes
on those insulting personality quizzes they make you take. Like, how are places supposed to know how good of a worker you are from a quiz? When I first started applying to places, I answered those questions truthfully. But then when I was getting desperate, I just answered strongly agree or strongly disagree. My opinions were never somewhat. This one time I applied to a grocery store, and this woman took me in the break room, and then she told me to wait, and then she left for 20 minutes. Yeah, I timed it. And I didn't want to start playing on my phone just in case she came back and saw how irresponsible I was being. So I seriously just sat there doing nothing for 20 minutes. And I was in the break room. Other employees just walked in and out, and no one was acknowledging my existence. Does that mean I can just walk into any other break room, just sit down, and no one's going to stop me? But then the lady finally came back with another girl, and this girl was being trained to be a manager, so the lady was using me to teach her how to interview people. So they sat across from me, and they were just talking to each other, and they were saying stuff like, so you can't ask him if he's 18, you have to ask him if he's over 18.
Okay.
Are you over 18? No. Okay, so you're gonna check the not hire box right there. I applied to a Chipotle and I freaking got an interview, right? They didn't hire me, obviously.
Do you notice how, he started at 150 followers on Tumblr, then it was 175. Now he had 200. Well, you know, it could be, there's a joking on it, but he could be actually increasing in followers as these interviews are coming in. That's also true.
To a different Chipotle, and I got an interview there too. And apparently the other Chipotle snitched on me because I get to this Chipotle and the lady there asks me, did you already apply here? And I told her I got an interview at a different Chipotle. And she sits me down and starts telling me about how Chipotle is looking for a certain type of person working for them. But all I heard was, get out of this store, you stupid, stupid boy. What makes you think I would ever hire you?
Oh my gosh.
Certain type. Are you looking for a person who puts all the sour cream on one half of the burrito? Is that what you mean by certain type?
Is that what they do?
An excess amount of people of that certain type. Hashtag boycott Chipotle because he didn't hire James like 3 years ago. Apparently, I was that certain type of person who worked at Subway because that's where I finally got hired. I'm not sure if that's an insult or not. And okay, I don't want to brag, but I was one of the best employees that Subway ever had. I was always on time or 5 minutes late, no in between. I never called in last minute saying I needed someone to cover my shift. In fact, I think I covered the most shifts. And whenever I closed with another person, the manager would usually complain about the work the other person did.
You did a bad job.
All those places that didn't hire me, you missed out. So this next story happened after I got a job at Subway. I didn't want to work with sandwiches anymore, and I didn't want to keep being paid minimum wage. So I actually like math, money. Right? I'm pretty freaking smart. And hold on, I just need to say something. A lot of people ask me what I was going to major in college because they think I did something artsy and that's what they want to do. I actually majored in math education. That's right. I wanted to be a math teacher, not this artsy stuff.
I wanted to be a teacher
too. So I applied to be a math tutor at my community college. Like that would have been
when I was younger. I wanted
job.
to be a math teacher.
I'm a math education major. I want to be a math teacher, and this job would give me good practice for the actual job.
That's
so
true.
In this interview, they gave you a practice problem, and then you had to teach the people giving the interview, which makes sense. I think all jobs should have a practice instead of an interview. For some stupid reason, I was only allowed to teach the math that I had completed, and I did AP calculus in high school, but for another stupid reason, the credits didn't transfer. Maybe it was because I didn't do the AP test. Who knows? So I had to do calculus in community college.
That's exactly why. If you didn't do the AP test, they don't give you the credits. You get the credits after you take the AP test. And then you don't even get the whole credits unless, as back when I was in school, you got the whole credits if you got like a certain score. If you got because I think you could get 3, depending on the some classes are 4, some classes are 3, or 1, I think there were some. But you could get 3 if that's the whole amount that they're offering for this AP class. Like for Spanish, I think it was 3. And once you take the test, if you got a certain amount, then you got all 3. If you got lower than that, then you got maybe 1 or 2. You didn't get the whole credit. That's back in my day. But yes, it's because you didn't take the test. This man is... he's such a trip.
And the credits didn't transfer. Maybe it was because I didn't do the AP test. Who knows? So I had to do calculus in community college again. So when I was applying, I could only tutor algebra and trigonometry. I got my practice problem, and it was so obviously a calculus problem. It was one of those, this is person A's distance over time, and this is person B's distance over time. Who's going faster at this time? Okay, that's an easy problem, okay? Take my word for it. But since these people I was quote-unquote tutoring didn't know calculus, I couldn't use calculus to teach them. Do you guys know what a derivative is?
Oh, dear.
No. And I did my dang darndest best teaching them what calculus was, but then at the end, they told me that I did it wrong. Like, my answer was completely wrong. They said something like, I was assuming they were going the same direction. I don't freaking know. And I felt super stupid and embarrassed. And I told them, yeah, okay, I'll leave. And as I was walking to my car, I was doing the problem in my head, and I was like, no, I did it right. And then in the car, I even got out a piece of paper and I did the problem again.
Just double check.
No, I'm still right. So the whole time I was so bummed out. I totally blew that interview. They're not going to hire me. But then that night I got a phone call and it's the people and they told me, hey, so we're talking about that problem with some of the calculus teachers and they all agree that problem has some elements of calculus. So that leads me to believe that these 3 really didn't know what a derivative was.
They didn't.
But then they told me they'd give me a second chance.
That's good.
Ooh,
That's
I was
good.
ecstatic.
That's
I
good.
had to go to Target and buy another nice shirt because I only own 1 nice shirt and it'd be weird if I showed up in the same shirt. I get there, I get the problem about a farmer and his fence. I totally nailed that problem. I knew exactly how much fence that farmer needed to build 2 pens with one being 2x plus 3 units larger. His farm animals were going to be so happy. Hit me up if you need any more help, dude. The whole time I kept asking them, do you guys understand? And they said, yeah. So I thought I was doing good. I left feeling a lot more confident.
That's great. That's wonderful.
But then they never called me back. So I didn't get the job, even though I bought a nice shirt from Target. And I kept working at Subway. And the world lost what could have been an awesome math teacher that day. This is what I'm thinking. They're probably just embarrassed that they gave me a calculus problem, and then I totally got it right in front of them.
And so they just
thought it would have been awkward
let you go back again.
Together. That's totally what happened. It wasn't because I actually got the problem wrong. Or
He's funny. I do wonder, like, if he was a teacher, he'd probably be like a fun teacher. I think they'd be like Mr. What's his last name? I don't know his last name, but I know his first name's James. But so we'll just say Mr. James. Like Mr. James, I like Mr. James. He's a fun teacher. He's a cool teacher, And I definitely could see, as far as wherever he was going to be a teacher, his kids would say that, and that was something for me that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a math teacher up until, I would say, because my grandmother was a teacher, or she was a nurse, and I think she was a teacher at one point. I wanted to be a math teacher until I took pre-calc, senior year, AP pre-calc, I can't even say it, pre-calc AP senior year. And listen, the chick that was our teacher was freaking the dry eyes, Visine voice, monotone. She had the lights dim as heck, like always off because she had the projector on. And I was falling asleep instantly when I walked in there. So I was like, nah, bro, I can't do this. And I'm like, if I got to do this to get, it was that difficult where I was like, nah, bro, forget it. Deuces, I'm out. So I changed them. Like, I still want to be a teacher, but I'll be a Spanish teacher. So I wanted to be a Spanish teacher. That's what I was originally going to school for, to be a Spanish teacher. I wanted to be a fun, cool Spanish teacher because my Spanish teacher was fun and cool, and I was excited. With this video, the one thing I was, I wanted to know if it was going to be kind of like his Strangers thing, like where he was going into the in-depth situations of the awkwardnesses of being interviewed by people. But he went on certain things I think that stood out the most, like particular interviews that he had, which, why did this chick like, hey, I'm going to train this. I don't like those interviews when they are training somebody else to interview you. It's like, can you just interview me and then have this person do the interview? Like, after you train them, do like a dummy training with them, not using a real person, because it really throws off someone's mojo. I think if somebody was well equipped to take the job, I mean, it was a grocery store, it's not that hard, but if you have another type of job, I've had corporate interviews where they freaking have somebody they're training interview me, and they're in there training them while they're interviewing me. So I'm just like, it's awkward as heck. So freaking awkward. So, listen, at the end of the day, he ended up in a good place. So it's all good. But I do feel like there were some unfair moments he's had in interviews. I can say that. They were unfair. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Did you have similar interview situations or stories? Let me know down below. If you like that video, check out the link in the description box below to support The Odd Ones Out and anyone else who might have been involved in the video. If you like this video, hug the life out of that like button. I love you guys as always. And until next time, buddies. Toodles.